Hi, Jodi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to have you on to talk about how your boring business can use networking groups to grow your business. We talk a lot about like networking and online and doing things to the internet, but I think that sometimes we forget that like we gotta talk to people. And so when Jodi was like, let's talk about this, I was like, yes, let's talk about this. So Jodi, why don't you tell us about you and your boring business to before we get going into this topic?
Okay, well, just real quick, my boring business is I've actually had years and years of experience in networking and just being out there and just doing exactly what you said as far as meeting people and building relationships. And now I've come to a place where I'm able to monetize it. So I have my own networking group that's called Networking for Healthcare, and it's primarily for physicians. So doctors that don't typically know how or like to network. This is a great platform for them to come out and just meet other healthcare professionals. So this is very exclusive to just the medical field, but like I said, it's a way that I have been able to turn it into a business and actually monetize the connections that I've just made throughout the years, just because that's what I do.
Awesome. That sounds fantastic.
Thanks.
So first question, let's dive in here. So what do you do to market your networking group online and offline?
Well, I use LinkedIn as my platform of choice for social media because really I'm looking to meet other healthcare professionals, and in often cases it's physicians, but it's just really anybody that's in the healthcare world. So LinkedIn is the best resource for me to just make those connections. So I do use some of the other platforms, of course Facebook, and then also Instagram. Love Instagram. And so those are just on a personal level, which you know how everything always kind of carries over. I will use those two platforms on a personal level to also just kind of keep people informed as to what I'm doing.
Awesome. So obviously you have a networking group specifically for physicians and medical professionals. So obviously this is like an offline, like in-person type of thing. So
Yeah.
how do you market in-person marketing to these people? Like obviously like is there an online component to it? Is it just like word of mouth? Like you handing out flyers? How do people, I guess, find this networking group that you have and like learn about the benefits and why they should be a part of it?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, my group has just exploded in this short year and a half. And I don't take all the credit because really it's just about giving everyone, the task with just sharing the information with other people that are like-minded that want to come together and meet in person and basically have those conversations during a networking event, and then that's where how things just kind of continue on. But yeah, a lot of it is just spread either organically, just reaching out to people and just meeting people out there and inviting. And then of course there's always the social media part. But I totally agree that I mean, it is about having those face-to-face conversations. You really have to have a balance of both. You can't just live in behind your computer, so to speak. You do need to get out, in whatever fashion that looks like, to continue to market your business.
Yes, even me, the person who works on the internet all day long, gets out and talks to people in the flesh. It's usually kind of weird because I gotta like put on heels and stuff, which is not my jam, but I
Right.
have to do that sometimes. So, what is an organized networking group in the context of like there's networking where like you
Right.
go to a mixer and chat, but
Right.
there's like organized networking groups. Talk about what those are, maybe what some examples are for our listeners.
Okay. Yeah. So, and when we had kind of talked about this topic, I was really excited because I've done everything. I've tried everything, and I've encouraged other people to try, everything and figure out what works for you. So, definitely, there's a difference between networking events, which, just like you mentioned, is usually just open networking conversations, making connections that way, usually without some sort of agenda other than just meeting other people. Um, uh, I forgot already. What did you call them? Networking?
Organized networking group.
Organized networking. So, and it's the same term that I would use as like leads groups. So more of an organized, usually there's, much more of a commitment. It's more on a regular basis. I mean, I participate in ones that have weekly meetings, as well as I've heard some other ones that are more organized are on a monthly basis. So I think part of it is they meet more often because they're really trying to make internal relationships. Like they're trying to create that consistency, seeing the same people, having some offline conversations. And there's an agenda. I mean, there's definitely like, a component of, everyone going around the room, introducing themselves, allowing guests that are attending to do the same. Usually there's a spotlight. I have seen that quite often is one business each week will have kind of the spotlight to share a little bit more. And a lot of times that's a great time to be able to practice your own 30-second pitch. Really any time that you're doing that is practicing, but where you're able to really kind of expand on what your business is all about, the people that you're looking to meet, and really look to the group that you're spending all this time with to kind of help you to make those connections so that they intimately know your business.
Awesome. So I've actually done this too. I'm with Jodi. Like Jodi and I go back to some like old school stopping grounds of like hitting the dirt for networking groups. I've done open networks. I've done mixers. I've done chambers. I've done BNI groups, LaTip groups. There's just so many ways, to network your business in person. And you really just have to like spend time at all these different kinds of places to figure out like who your people are and like how it's going to help your business, because I have met some of the most amazing people at these groups, but as far as like trying to convert that business is just so different. And so I think what's great about organized networking groups or leads groups is that there's that guaranteed, like it's the job of everyone in that group to help you get business.
Right. There's usually that requirement where you're actually making referrals and you're using that group as kind of your go-to people. So if someone is saying they're looking for an air conditioning, repair person, if you have someone in the group, that should be your first, connection. So, and yes, it's something like to your point about you do have to try different things. You even have to try different organized networking groups to just figure out if the dynamics, if the people within the group that are already kind of there, if that kind of fits into, what you're looking for. Because it is during that particular time, but it's also having those one-off conversations and just keeping in touch with people and really just kind of building your tribe within that circle of people. And usually it's like 20, 30. I mean, there are some organized groups that are really, really large, but I think like the 20 to 30 number is a nice number so that you can kind of get around and know what everyone is doing. And then the same for them so that they can help you to send you the right clients, customers, even just referral partners.
Yeah. And do you think it's possible for people to just like if all these marketing things are all these gurus, all these people like, oh, you have to be on social, you have to do video, you have to do stories, you have to do this is this. Do you think it's fair to say that like if you just did these organized networking groups that you could grow your business to where you'd want it to go? Like this could be your marketing for your business?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm all about the balance, but I think that it's a really kind of a low cost way of just getting out and just meeting people and just figuring out like who are good connections for you. I've often, given people advice to just spend 30 days and just check out as many different types of events, organized events, open networking kind of events, and just, hit the ground, like set your calendar where you've got like 2 or 3, because it is kind of exhausting. So you want to balance it out, but you have that mission, and even for 30 days to kind of figure out like what group really works for you. But yeah, I'm totally a believer in building those face-to-face relationships. I mean, there's nothing that can really you just can't do without it. I mean, you do have to have kind of your inner circle. And if that inner circle ends up being an organized group, that's awesome. And that's kind of your go-to. And I also tell people, don't get into something and then within, 90 days say, well, it's not working. I'm not getting referrals. You know what I mean? You really do need to give it a full year, to be really honest. You need to give it some time to, again, grow those relationships. Make sure that you're giving first so that you're also receiving. Just have some different intentions as to what you're really looking for. And I think over time, it will be a benefit. And then, assess after that year mark and see if this is, if you've had that return on investment from what you put into the group, not only your time, but the money. And then if not, it's okay to move on to something different after that point. But that's just kind of my 2 cents.
You said something that I think is really important to highlight, and that is that you have to give as well. So many people, I think, go into networking things, specifically with these organized group, expecting to get all of these referrals for their business because they're the bee's knees and everybody needs them. And why wouldn't everyone want to give them their business? But you have to remember, you have to give it back. It's a two-way thing. Not only are you investing into this group, but this group is investing in you.
Exactly. I mean, it's definitely, that's just natural. And there are a lot of people that don't necessarily have that intention, and they're all about just, what can I get? What can I get? And I think that those are the ones that end up dropping off. That if you have that mutual understanding that you are going to not only be helping other people, you will in turn receive that help. But it's just like, when you go to events and people just kind of are passing out their cards, and it's all just a business card game of how many they can, go home with and how many of their own they can get rid of. And honestly, that's not really true connecting,
No.
at the purest sense. It's really just, it's like a numbers thing. So, but yeah, I'm all about giving first, because that just comes back, tenfold.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the benefits that go along with these networking groups. So I personally think one of the great benefits is when you find, one of the things to look for when you're trying to find an organized group is how many people in that group can you be partners with?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can kind of have these little power tribes within these groups. So for example, a good power tribe for someone who is a realtor is that they're going to want to have a pool guy and a roofer, a contractor, anything that's associated with the home. If you want to be their resource, for every home, I'm going to give your cards to every person they sell a home to for any of these needs that you have, and the same back. So I feel that's a really important thing to think about when you're going into a group is how, because again, it's about, one, that mutual, what you can give and what they can give you, but also how you can really maximize those partnerships.
Right, definitely. I call those, and I'm sure I stole this term from somebody, but strategic business partners. And basically creating, like you said, just that smaller nucleus of people that can kind of help you. I mean, we have in one group that I participate currently, we do have kind of a little healthcare following, or not following, but a little healthcare subgroup that's happening within that group, which is really helpful because, again, if like your point about the real estate, that's always a really popular one, but definitely having the mortgage people and the all the construction and home type things, it just creates that synergy because you're all in kind of the same industry. So it makes it really hard when and that's why I'm saying it's really important to kind of check out the group. Don't go to a group one time and sign up. I always tell people, don't do that. Go to the group at least a couple times. They usually give you the option to come and visit 2 times before you actually make a commitment, and just make sure that the dynamics, and when I mean that, it's not only just the personalities, it's the industries. Do they somewhat match up with what you're looking for? Because that's really where you're going to get the biggest benefit, is having those strategic business partners.
Yes. And what do you think are some of the other benefits of being in these committed groups? So we've talked about power partners, or as you would say, strategic business partners. We've talked about how it's a leads group for you. Do you get people? What do you think are some of those other benefits that you can't get from an online marketing strategy?
I think, again, it's just giving you an opportunity to be in a safe environment. I know that, some of these groups really have benefits around if you've got, an idea, or you've got maybe an event coming up, or you just need ideas. This is usually a good place to be able to bring that. And you've got, a room of people that know you and support you, and they can kind of give you the ins and outs, or what maybe you don't want to hear, kind of thing, in a safe environment. So I think that that's very beneficial. Again, you're building relationships where you're seeing these people on a consistent basis, and they feel your pain, they want to support you, they love you, that kind of thing. So I think that's a huge thing. I mean, again, I feel that most industries, it doesn't really matter what industry you're in, can benefit from organized networking like that, and really build their own business around that.
Yeah, I also would include, like, off of what you said, is like you get all these people, like you get a room full of friends that you can like mastermind with, that
Exactly.
you can like run ideas by, get like an outsider's perspective. Because again, like I'm in marketing, and you're in healthcare, like you can have someone that just needs, like, you have nothing to do with my industry. You have a completely unbiased opinion. This is a problem I have, or this is something I'm thinking about. What do you think? And it just gives you like all the good, diverse help that you need for your business. Like, it's like making a room full of friends
Yeah,
for your
like
business.
friends in a focus group all at the same time.
Yeah. So what is something that has gone like horribly wrong for you in the past when it comes to like an organized group? Like, what's like one of like your like tragic learn from this kind of a stories?
Well, I think, again, knowing that organized networking is usually a big commitment. Um, for me personally, in the very beginning, I really didn't know the difference between like just general networking events to, again, the organized, more of a commitment. And I know that way back when I joined, it was also a chamber leads group. And I just really didn't have the time. I had a pretty busy job that the weekly commitment of actually attending, every week was like not, it wasn't doable. There was always things coming up. So that was something that went horribly wrong. Just me not being able to really commit to it. And I've seen other groups the same thing, where they just don't necessarily have the requirements in place. So you've got people that are just kind of coming in and out, showing up one week, not showing up for a few weeks, and it just becomes very ineffective. So as much as I'm not like a huge rule person, I mean, there has to be some accountability and some rules in place. And in that particular example, not me being the bad person, but the others being the bad people, there wasn't really anybody there to kind of say, no, we really need to make sure that people are showing up, that you're sending a substitute in your place. That's another really important thing, is that if you're not going to be there, find somebody else. And it doesn't even have to be somebody within your industry, but someone who's going to come in and introduce your business at least, for you on your behalf. And then they obviously get a little bit of an opportunity as well, because they're a visitor, they get to share what they're doing as well. So, and there's not all groups do that. And I know in the group that I participate in currently, I do encourage that. If you have something and you're going to miss, and if you're in a business where it's just yourself, or maybe there's just a couple people, find somebody else in your network to come and at least give your 30-second, and then be a participant. So, because we always have guests, and that's a shame when you're not represented if you know that you're going to be out. So
That is good feedback. And then what is, give us like a really good example of like when being in a networking group has just been like this amazing like opportunity. Like, give us a success story for networking groups.
oh my gosh. I mean, I have so many. I mean, honestly, just like what you had said, years of experience, building those relationships. I mean, I have people that I still are friends, and they're still mentors to me. There's still people that I look to that, when I've done different things in my professional career, these are people that I've gone to. I mean, I wish I had like one story, but I don't. I really honestly don't. At least one that's not coming to mind right now.
You could even argue that all of your networking led to you starting your own networking business.
Yeah, I mean, and you're absolutely right. I probably am a product of my own good story, is the fact that I originally, way back in the day, was in a corporate America job. And once I left that and got outside of that building, I realized there's a whole world out there, and that's how people do build their businesses, is creating these connections. And typically in corporate America, you just don't do that. You kind of are isolated. It's not always welcome to be mingling with other people and other departments and things like that. And so that was one of the biggest things that I learned. And you're absolutely right. I mean, again, when I was talking about monetizing where I'm at today, I love connecting people. I love connecting with other people. And now I've created a business around it to be able to do that, still do all the things I love to do, and then make some money out of it. So.
Awesome. All right, Jodi. Well, I hope that you guys have learned a lot about like how you can use networking groups to help your business just like blow up and crush it. Like I said, you know me. I mean, I run a social media business, so my world is all online, but there are so many fantastic benefits to networking, and there are even more benefits, I think, into like this organized group networking where you have this like dedicated team who is there to just like hustle and love all over your business on a weekly, ongoing basis. Mm-hmm. So never forget that, guys. So Jodi, we always like to end our podcast with this question. So what is your favorite quote for our listeners that's going to inspire them to go out and make marketing greatness?
Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. I have to read. I totally forgot my quote. I have it. It's across the room, but I can't read it.
Go get it.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I'll even show it to you. I have it in my house and in my little office. So I love anything from this. I don't even know if you can see this, but it's go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you have imagined.
Awesome. That's a fantastic quote. I hope that helps you guys get all pumped up to figure out if maybe a networking group is right for you. Jodi, how can people find you online?
Pretty much just joditowns.com.
All right. Sounds good, guys. And if you are in the medical industry, make sure you check out her business as well to help you if you're looking to network your business as well. Thank you so much for being on the show, Jodi. It was a fantastic to have you. And like we always say in military life, it is never goodbye. It is see you soon. So until next time, I will see you soon.
See you soon.